Hello everyone and welcome to the 30-Day Blog Challenge weekly podcast. My name is João and this is a show for bloggers all about blogging. On this third episode, we'll be talking with Cory Varga from youcouldravel.com. Setting up your blog can be frustrating for a beginner. However, it doesn't have to be if you take the appropriate steps right from the start. Today, Cory and I are going to be discussing this, her blogging journey, and so much more. Okay, Cory, so I always start by asking our guests to present themselves and their blog. So for those listeners who are not familiar with your work, go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself and what You Could Travel is all about.
So I'm Cory. I'm the writer and photographer for You Could Travel, and I'm one of the co-founders because You Could Travel is about couple travel, and we are a soft adventure travel blogger. Which basically means off the beaten path destinations, culinary affairs, and trying to find those incredible things to do which nobody really knows about, and then presenting them to you all.
Right, great. So You Could Travel is not only your blog, right? It's a couple blog, from what I
That is
understand.
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone should understand their reason for becoming a blogger. What was your initial reason or for getting into it?
Well, we were in Japan. That was in 2015,
Mm.
and we realized we found such little information about the country, its culture, what to do in Japan, how to behave when we were there. And then we realized that we would actually love to found a blog that would actually tell readers and visitors to Japan how to behave and what to expect from the visit from the country. So it started with Japan, but then very quickly evolved to what we like to do in all the destinations we visit. But yeah, Japan was mainly the reason, actually.
So Japan was the reason. So you guys, did you know that you wanted to make this a full-time gig, or you're just getting into it for fun?
We were just getting into it for fun, but then we grew so rapidly in 3 months. We saw so much potential. We realized that we can actually add it as a full-time income as well.
Wow. So before you begin blogging, you need to choose the perfect niche, right? It's one of the major keys to having a great site. How did you decide on the topic of your blog?
For us, it was just a natural giveaway.
It was a
It was
natural, right?
Japan.
With Japan
Yep.
story. Yeah.
No, it had to be. And because we were a couple and we never really traveled alone beforehand, just bits and bobs.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that idea that we're a couple travel bloggers and that's going to be our focus. And because we were so focused on Japan to begin with, it was actually very easy to evolve from there.
Right. So we always say that having a domain name that is memorable and simple and ideally not too long is key. So
Yeah.
after decide on your niche and all that and all the Japan story, how did you decide on the name of your blog? Because youcouldravel.com is a great name in my opinion.
Thank you. It was so tedious. You can't even begin to imagine. We started writing down everything to do with travel, with blogging, with culture travel, like everything you can possibly imagine. We even had like a whiteboard. And
Right.
then one day we were just having lunch, and then I asked G, if you could travel anywhere, where would that be? And he's like, you could travel. That's amazing. We're going to have that as a name.
So
So yeah,
yeah.
it was silly, really. We were struggling for a month, but then it was just one of those like moments, like just
Uh-huh.
yay.
So it was kind of a brainstorming process and
Yes.
all right. And what about choosing your TLD? Did you absolutely want it to be .com? And do you think in today's market that .com is still the way to go?
Yes, I honestly believe so. I think if you have the .com, you can then, it doesn't really matter if you've got the .co.uk, .lx or whatever, it really
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But you see, it's really weird if you search for example, you could travel, and then it would be a completely different brand that appears top of Google. You could travel.com, and that could be, I don't know, a travel agency, and then your brand is completely different than theirs, and then it's confusing. So I
Mm-hmm.
think if you have the .com, it's still the way to go,
Right.
absolutely.
So let's get back to Japan a little bit. How much time would you say it went into getting You Could Travel up and running? So since the moment you said, all right, we want to make a blog until You Could Travel is live.
Oh, that's such a good question. I would say probably about 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
Um,
that's
but that's because I am a creative designer and my husband is a software developer. So we didn't just get a WordPress site, we actually made it into a custom theme right from the start. And we didn't just want to launch it with no article. So I actually took some time to have some content there before I launched it.
All right. So
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
no, that's it. So obviously,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the whole process took about 2 weeks, and that was the speedy process. Then we spent another month putting everything together properly.
Right. So that was actually my next question. How did you choose your blogging platform? Do you recommend any blogging platform?
Well, a lot of people go with WordPress to begin with.
Yeah.
I went with WordPress just to give it a trial for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But because my husband is a Drupal developer and together we have Drupal clients, so I'm very well versed in using Drupal, it was at that giveaway that we're going to go with that platform.
Right.
It's way better optimized, I think, for bloggers. And I really think that it's quite intuitive to use once you get used to it. Obviously, WordPress has a lot of other benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could recommend one, it would definitely be Drupal. It's not
Drupal.
for everyone, yes.
Right. And there are a few costs that people may run into when building a blog, and a lot of people are not aware of this. Did you incur with a lot of costs in the beginning stage of this venture or not?
I think if you go with WordPress, it can be as cheap as free, which is great. But for us, because it was Drupal and it doesn't come really out of the box, you kind of need to put a lot of design and a lot of development into it. Then I would say it costed quite a lot. And also it was the hosting. Yeah, so I think we actually invested quite a lot into the blogging in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And now that you are an experienced blogger, you know the value of SEO, I think.
Yes.
Did you have any idea of the importance of it when you were starting out youcouldravel.com?
I think because I was working in the digital industry for quite a while, I kind of knew that that's where, the big money is. So I did focus quite a lot on it to begin with, but I am improving still. So it's not really quite as easy as saying, okay, you need to be, super SEO versed. This is a learning curve. And even after a year and a half, I'm still discovering new things about it.
Mm-hmm. Because SEO is a science that's always changing as well, right?
Definitely.
Right. And now that you are a well-known expert in traveling, people rely on you for fresh ideas. How do you continually come up with creative content for your blog? That's a hard task.
It is a hard task, but I think it goes hand in hand with SEO. I mean, I see a lot of bloggers just writing content for the sake of it. And I think it's important to first determine what your audience needs to read. So research the questions they have about the place you want to write about, and then give them the content they need. I think this is the best advice I can give to any new blogger.
Right.
And that's how we stay on top of things.
And how do you manage the look and feel of your website? Is it you and your husband?
It is me and my husband. However, we are just in the process of redesigning, implementing new colors, implementing a new brand.
Oh, really?
You Could Travel will remain the same, so that doesn't change. But we feel that with our niche, and because we're couple travel bloggers, we feel that we deserve a new color scheme and just overall a stronger brand.
Right. And this is probably the golden question. What is the strategy for monetizing your site?
We believe that passive income is the best way to go. So affiliates are key. Of course, you do need your website to be fully optimized for search engines. So you need people to find your content in order to buy things from you. And then you also need to establish yourself as a brand and as a business in order for people to trust you and your content to indeed buy things from you. So they kind of go hand in hand. The second obvious is what we do content related and photography. We do sell both. We sell our skills and our digital skills as well. But passive income is our main source of income.
Right. And for the new bloggers, getting their content seen can be a struggle. How do you do to distribute and promote your content?
That's actually a very good question. If you focus on SEO right from the beginning, you'll find it quite surprising that in as little as a couple of months, Google will serve your content to a lot of people. And that's probably the best way to go. Pinterest is a visual search engine. So Pinterest is a very good way to for your content, sorry. Also Twitter and Facebook. So obviously social media are key, but you do need to build a following, and that takes time.
Right.
So I would probably say focusing on SEO and Pinterest to begin with, and then establishing yourself on the other social networks.
Uh-huh. All right, we're nearing the end of the show. Let's wrap it up with a few fun rapid fire questions. Cory, are you ready?
I think so.
All right, let's do it. So first question, who is your blogging hero and why? Or do you have a blogging hero, first of all?
I think Expert Vagabond is my blogging hero. And why? Because he is a really fun guy and he seems to write honest things about what he does. It's really cool.
And what's your favorite quote? Do you have a favorite quote?
We are kings and pawns. This is by Napoleon Bonaparte. This is because you can easily go up and down, and you're both at any given time, depending on how you look at the world.
All right, so let's pretend you've decided to start a new blog
Okay.
tomorrow. What would your new blog be about?
Blogging tips. I want to tell you
Wow.
all how to make money.
And where do you see yourself in your blog in 5 years?
Hopefully, my blog is going to become even a bigger business, and I'm going to become one of the biggest influencers out there, so people can actually come to me and trust me and my advice, because it's always going to stay super honest.
And Cory, what's the best thing for you about being a blogger?
The flexibility that I can work during weekends and just go shopping during the week when it's the quietest time.
Yeah, you make your own schedules, right?
Yep.
Right. And finally, last question. Can you give our listeners 3 or more tips for starting out on their blogging journey?
Yes, create a solid business plan right from the start and following it to the letter. Make sure you focus on SEO. This is probably your best friend and was going to make your blog. And 3, establish yourself as a brand. When people say that it doesn't matter how the blog looks like, it does matter. Your branding is important. Just make sure you put a lot of effort into making it awesome.
Right.
Cool.
All right, Cory. Thank you so much. It was great.
That's all right.
All right, Cory.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was. I'd like to thank Cory Varga from youcouldravel.com for joining us today. And of course, thanks to you, the listener, for tuning into the 30-day blog challenge. If you're looking for further tips and tricks regarding today's show, we have just created an epic new guide on getting your site ready to go live, setting up a blog. Click on the link below to check it out. Come back every Wednesday for more exciting interviews with some of the top bloggers on the web. Until next time, blog on and blog often.